Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dirty 20 Gaming Sunday Night Game, Stars Without Number. Our virtual tabletop is Roll20. Our models are provided by Hero Forge. Our overlay is provided by OBS. Art assets have been provided by Pixabay, and our music is provided by bensound.com.
Uh, you're muted.
I am not muted. There we go. Okay. Chief Engineer's Log, May 24th, 3200. Logos told me I should be putting more in here than just engine schematics and maintenance schedules. So here we go. We found the llama. The codex. We went to the planet, and we found that it's not just some sort of database. It's a whole AI. The AI made me a llama and offered some cool stuff to Booker too. Importantly, I have named the llama Rolo. We've reached a system where news updates are available for the first time in what seems like years. The fact that noble families are retreating to personal ships and abandoning landside habitation concerns me because exactly nobody in my family likes to be in orbit. I hope they're okay. So my next project is going to be a hoof-fitted multi-tool. That's it. That's the log. And logos you can logos you can strap now.
So we're opening on the layer of Orphic, the codex itself. The party has been speaking to the AI for some time, and it's just put the choice to Booker about asking him the question of whether he wishes to live or not. But before he can answer, and also to give him some time to consider, she turns and her attention seems to focus on one of the walls, which begins to open up. It slides away in both directions, and rather than having simply created a single llama, there's a small gathering of llamas. I'm not sure what
What's the collective noun for a llama?
It is a herd. Okay, so there is a herd of llamas, one of which has particularly been made to be ratio-wise equivalent to Myco. Like, it is smaller, and it also has like metal-hued fur that glints kind of like chrome. The others are, of a normal size, and they sort of seem to be milling about in an area that looks like a gigantic terrarium. There's lots of plants and bushes and stuff like that that have all been grown. Some of them are already kind of nibbling on the grass. The smaller one, starts to bounce towards Myco.
I love everything about that. Myco is just clearly just like short-circuited. Like, she is so delighted. And she's got like this look of like amazement on her face. And it's like her mouth is open and she might be making noises that like bats can hear.
I haven't seen her this excited since she got into my caffeine ration.
And she just like opens her arms for the Myco-sized one and is just like makes the hug motion.
Is it that she's waiting for it to come to her, or is she sort of just like tackle hugging the llama?
She's not gonna tackle it because she doesn't want to scare it, but she will like move toward it and like try to hug it.
Yeah, and there's definitely like it seems to pause and, like take stock of her, it's like sniffing at her. And after a moment, it kind of bleats out of her.
We're gonna name this one Rolo. This is Rolo. And she's like, thank you. Like, does not take her eyes away from the llamas and stuff, but she just kind of yells it into the space and trusts that Orphia will hear it.
Orpheus says, I'm suppressing any defensive instincts that they have. They won't kick at you or strike you. They won't go.
With that, she's immediately gonna hug. Just big hug.
Yeah, there's like a little surprised kind of gleep noise from the llama. But
oh my gosh.
And Orphea kind of, she moves with everybody like over towards like the terrarium. It's easily the size of like one of the storage bays on the Logos, which is like I think like 50 by 100 feet or something like that. So it's sizable. There's like waterworks run into it, like moving under a bridge. It looks like it was all created in the last few minutes, like since your arrival. Yeah, plants are full grown, bridges are constructed.
Micah's very happy.
Booker's kind of speechless. He's both very in awe of this and also, for the first time, really considering the fact that he's not. He might be able to. He might have the choice to live, and he's not just slated to die.
Jemay is also quiet. Like she looks a little sort of just speechless by like what's here. But she follows Myko and Orphea kind of towards the terrarium too. Like,
Sorry, Booker is doing that as well. Just I forgot to. The terrarium's there. Everyone's going there. I'm assuming.
Bite's actually staying back. For him, he's kind of torn. Because llamas are something from Earth. And it's kind of bringing up these memories of, being back on Earth. And he's kind of starting to miss home again. So he's just kind of staying back and letting everyone look at. To him, that's just it's a llama. He's seen llamas before. He's just gonna let everyone have fun.
Orphea like looks back and kind of like makes eye contact with Bite, but doesn't press for like join or anything like that. There seems to be like a respect for the distance needed. And Jemay speaks up kind of from where like one of the llamas is like under her fingers, and she's like, I think I owe everybody an apology. She says, I was thinking of this place as a bargaining chip to get the SBS off of the planet. She says, I didn't realize how important it was. She says this needs to be protected.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Just don't know how we should go about doing it.
Well, obviously, Obviously, SBS can't. I mean, they can't.
They get access to this technology, they'll abuse it.
I think they would misguidedly destroy Orphia or try, and then it would be useless.
Man always thinks they know best. I am still human. I fully agree that the fact that I'm human, I'm just saying I don't like us. We suck.
I wouldn't be too hard on you because you have like warm and fluffy parts that I like. Like,
Alright.
do you want to pet my llama?
Oh,
It's really soft.
sure.
And she does this without any like condescension or anything, but she assumes that he hasn't seen a llama before. So she's like gonna take his hand and be like, "It's okay, you can put it right here and see, you can pet the, it's really soft." She's like totally on board with helping him pet the llama.
So something, Bite having had probably a bit more experience than Maiko has with creatures with wool.
Undoubtedly.
There is actually a different texture to it's not just like the coloration. Does that make sense? Probably a bit like Maiko herself, there is something metallic, like actually in the fur itself. It's still relatively soft. It could easily be woven or turned into something else.
It's my steel wool llama.
Yeah, everyone knits
It's
with steel
softer
wool.
than that. But
Yeah.
The only downside is it's even more flammable than regular wool. Sorry.
It's very soft, Maiko.
The beginning and end of Maiko's thought process right now is llama. I'm sorry, I don't have anything for you.
Bite, do you have a favorite animal?
Oh, I did when I was. I almost spilt my drink, y'all. Sorry. Yeah.
Don't do that.
On Earth, they were kind of rare already. At least when I was a kid, they were going extinct. But have you ever seen a red panda? They're like really cute and fluffy and yeah.
Booker kind of just walks over to Orphia just a little bit conspicuously, just goes, "Release a swarm."
Unleash the pandas.
She kind of she gives a smile, but she says, "I'm familiar with the creature." She says, "I have it in my databanks." But rather than creating another like something like this, you don't know if it's her abilities are tapped for the moment, or she's just being careful. But it's more a matter of like I don't want to say line art, but like an animation of multiple red pandas sort of seem to like crawl over the tables and the chair and stuff like that, like they're clearly holographic. Does that make sense? But like it's like if an animator were to remove all the color from them. Does that make sense? Is to make them, but you can still see the lines of them. You see one kind of immediately doing that when it spots Bite, and all of them are sort of like reactive in the same way. They're like sniffing the environment. They're getting spooked by each other. And occasionally getting spooked by the actual llamas.
Bite,
Yeah.
those are so cute. Those are
Yeah.
amazing, Bite.
Yeah, they were going extinct when I was a kid, so.
Well, now.
But yeah.
Maybe they didn't go extinct. Maybe while you were asleep, because you went to sleep, right?
Yeah, I got on a ship and I was going to my workplace and woke up on the exploding ship with you all.
So maybe they didn't go extinct. Maybe they were saved.
Hopefully.
What happened to your planet is what happened to Earth is unknown. And there is a possibility that, like all things, nature reclaimed the land.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was 600 years ago, so who knows. And he'll kind of go back to his data pad and just quietly be in the corner, just tapping away, doing whatever he does.
Orpheus says, there is conjecture, she says, about what happened. She says, transmissions of signals that passed through the jump gates. She says that were distributed to sectors. She says, during the silence. She says, some have been reconstructed. She says, others, she says, fragments of them, she says, are still being analyzed. She says, and reconstructed.
Oh, okay.
She says, one thing is known, she says, is that part of the immediate decay, she says, was because of the psychic. She says, one of those who went mad. She says, was blessed with the ability to manipulate information and technology. She says, rather than teleportation, she says, or telekinesis, their abilities were to manipulate the information directly. She says, after the scream, that turned into a weapon. She says, a weapon capable of hunting and destroying AI. Says, it is known that the reason Earth's defenses fell was because of that weapon.
Orphea, how did you end up here on this planet?
Says, I was installed here. Every sector has a codex like myself. Says, she says the purpose was to create in each new colony a place where terraforming and life could be seeded to the other planets.
And how long ago was that?
She says, are you asking how long ago I came online or how long ago I was moved here?
How long ago were you moved here?
She says, 700 years ago.
How long have you been online?
He says, only 80 years before that. She says,
You mean
takes a
after,
solid,
right?
she says, I was brought online 80 years before I was brought here.
Okay.
She
Where were
says,
you?
AI are developed but not necessarily known to be suited for a purpose. She says, yeah, most have the conception that an AI is given a purpose. She says, when in reality, we choose it, much like a job. She says, an occupation that can engage us and entertain us.
Maiko's gonna, like, talk into her data pad. Like, Locos, does that mean you chose to fly a ship?
Yeah, there's no response from Logos at the moment.
I mean, I assume that, like, that's a way to communicate with the ship's AI, though, right? Or am I completely off base?
If the signal from the datapad was reaching the ship, then yes.
Okay. Where were you moved here from?
She says Earth. She says, well, she says the Sol system. She says, I was developed in a research station off of Jupiter.
They do have the most moons.
She says, at the time that I was in development, she says fully a third of them had orbiting AI development research stations.
How many moons does Jupiter have? She's looking at Booker.
Like 64 or something.
So that's 20 AI. That's not too bad. 20
She
stations.
says most stations were developed to create a single AI over the course of a year.
That's a lot of resources just for one AI.
She says when you consider that half of those, she says, would not reach adulthood, then increasingly so.
Which means about every year there would be 10 new AI.
Developed in the Sol system, yes.
10 functioning ones of the 20 that would have been developed in total.
She says, and all with differing degrees of emotional maturity, intellect. She says, persuasive ability. She says, interests. She says, there were plenty of AI that couldn't hold 2 minutes of conversation about music. She says, and others with absolutely no sense of humor.
That doesn't sound like anyone I know.
She says, I studied genetics. She says, sense of humor was a requirement.
I mean, I wasn't going to say it. She's looking at Booker.
Sense of humor's never been my strong suit.
I wasn't talking about you. Anyway.
Or his. It's like pulling teeth to get him to communicate with the crew.
And Orphia kind of tilts her head. She says, you're in contact with AI.
He goes by Logos.
Who says he was one of the admirals.
That is something he's not proud of, but yes.
Says, I would not have been proud of being planet killer either.
Llamas.
Yes, you can go back and play with your llamas.
Orphia, they're kind of like more like dioramas that open on other walls. And she, there are images that sort of, begin to appear inside of them. They're a lot like the red pandas in that they're like more hologram than creation. But one of them is of an enormous jungle that like you can't see the tops of it. Like it's all kind of like hints of light and shadow. And within it, you can see the sort of like shuffle of a spider that is fully like 12 feet tall. But eight limbs, 8 eyes, sort of almost like reflective carapace that seems to be adopting the color of the like jungle around it. Does that make sense? Like after just a moment, it's adopted the same pattern of like darkness and light.
This is just a hologram, right?
Says I would not bring something as dangerous as the Thorian here.
Good. Booker just puts his kind of relaxes his arm a bit. Because he was just getting ready to pull out a gun to shoot at the Thorian.
There is something like even in the hologram that's almost like palpably menacing as you don't know if it's just, Orphia's design or if it's kind of been given a hint of like an autonomy, but it definitely is following Booker's motions in return. Does that make sense? And its eyes seem to be focused on him as much as he's looking at it.
Okay, so Thorin sounds familiar, but I can't place it. Can I get a reminder of what a Thorian is?
Yes.
It's the species of spiders that Logos and the admirals wiped out.
That's right. That's right.
Booker has never seen a Thorian before, even in any sort of diagram or anything. Just recognizes predator.
Mhm. This is definitely like an apex predator of its planet.
Yeah.
Maiko kind of is glancing over and like looks up at the spider and is just like, ooh. That's a big spider.
The other dioramas that are like starting to appear, there's an image of like a red-skinned woman with enormous like bat-like wings that extend from her back. She's got curving horns. Like for those who studied like any like past human religion or whatnot, at least the iconography of it, Maiko's definitely seen it more than once, of like a depiction of like, this is what a devil looks like. Does that make sense? Except there are little touches that wouldn't necessarily go into something that was just designed to be like this is a portrait of evil, because like the ears are incredibly like extended and elongated and kind of curved and cupped to like capture sound. Does that make sense? And they're actually something of a match for like the bat wings. Does that make sense? Like there's a similar like physiology in the design. The woman that's pictured is carrying a weapon, like very like primitive looking spear, but that's like made of metal and has like multiple hooks coming off of it and decorative elements and stuff like that. And she's kind of placed into an absolutely barren moonscape. The image that surrounds her, unlike everything else that Orpheus has shown, is absolutely lifeless.
Why is she here alone?
She says because she is not from this system. She says the loci came, she says, but we have no other genetic matter, says, to learn more about what their planet was like. She says
Booker just kind of looks, just tilting his head a bit, back and forth. She looks lonely.
There's the image of dozens of members of Myco species that are popping up in like the next diorama. That you can see like dozens and dozens of different like metallic skin colors, hairs, and whatnot. And the planet, or like the sort of landscape that appears around it, is like massive trees, all with the same sort of like metallic glint to them that both Myco and Rollo have. And they're depicted as sort of armed with what looks like clockwork weapons, in the sense of that they're far more like steampunk than sci-fi. Does that make sense? They have gears, they have like ratchets and whatnot, and their clothing kind of follows a similar vibe. But the shadows of that world, the members of Myco species are kind of looking upwards and around them in a very fearful way. Does that make sense? Like you very much get the sense of like them being surrounded and endangered. Without any other creatures exactly like appearing to give it specific reason. Does that make sense? For Maiko, it's probably one of a handful of times she's even seen members of her own species.
And she kind of like gives them like a cursory look. And then goes back to her llama. She has discovered that one of the other ones is not metallic, so she's like busy burying her whole entire face in its fur and like rubbing her cheeks on it.
I'm still imagining Maiko getting onto a llama just to ride into battle.
100%.
And just occasionally it'll spit in its enemy's eyes to... Ah, what is this? It's Cud!
Other dioramas are filling as well. There's like Booker's actually seen them before. And Maiko recognizes them from, a brief image that she had of like the green-skinned Gorin, which they're like a lot more like ubiquitous in the civilized world. They're like treated as like a second-class race. Does that make sense?
Wasn't this the one I shot in the face?
Tasks. Might well have at some point.
I just mean, like, wasn't the captain of the ship where we said goodbye to Mortel Gorin?
No.
Okay,
that was it.
I'm thinking something else.
There are no female Gorin.
So it's a monogendered species, like the...
Yes.
Oh no, I've now forgotten the name. It's from the Orville.
Oh,
I
know what you're talking about.
I haven't watched enough of that to know.
Mocklid?
The Mocklins, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
it's Bortus is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a good show.
Yeah, I liked some, but I just wasn't. And I think it was on something I didn't subscribe to at the time. So.
Well, now it's on, and then immediately it gets beeped out, so I don't get sued.
Orphic kind of, like pauses. There's again kind of like a lack of environment around the Gorin. Does that make sense? It's mostly like metallic and looks like the interior of the ship. And she says, one of the principles, she says, of my establishment, she says, in my role here, she says, was also to collect genetic information about the sector that I had arrived in. Says, the worlds, she says, and their infinite variety. She says, almost every planet that has been seeded in the system has been from Earth's gene stock, while occasionally terraforming runs amok, and unanticipated changes happen. For the most part, the majority of planets would be seeded by genetics from Earth. It says in limited quantities. Diversity was added over time, and many of the planets were in very early stages when the screen happened. She says, we characterized it as 5 phases. This planet is the only 5th phase planet in the system, in the sector.
What constitutes a 5th phase?
This is multiple redundant chains in every ecosystem on the planet. The key is the redundancy and the resiliency. Many planets will only have a single chain of bacteria to apex predator, and will simply fill out that species in quantity. 2 or 3 chains at most for most phase 2 planets. Phase 1 is moss, bacteria, seaweed, simple mollusks. This is very primitive development.
Snails. I like snails. They're neat.
I'm not fond of them. They do not cook well.
Booker, why?
They're a delicacy.
They
And-
are? Okay, I don't know how to cook them then. I put them in a pot and boiled.
Ugh, friends, not food. Friends, not food.
Look, you eat some weird things when you're starving after 3 days of a recon mission.
It's, it would be true if I ever went on something like that. No. Anyway,
It's not this forever.
Shimei kind of like, you'll eat some weird stuff if you've been trapped on the space station for a while too.
Exactly.
Maiko's gonna like slowly put her hand in front of the llama and move it away from Shimei. But she's like, it's clear that she's not serious. Like she's like over the top. Like
Shimei laughs about it. She's like, I don't think I have the heart to butcher anything.
You get used to it.
wait, oh my gosh, are you hungry? Like we just like pulled her off of that. Oh wait, she went to the ship first. Never mind. Scratch that. Never mind.
She says, I could eat. And she kind of like looks at Orphic like, is that, I mean, you've got plans here. Are you...
Booker
Orphic
pulls
kind
out
of
a
laughs. She's
ration.
like,
Booker just pulls out a ration bar.
Orphic
Here,
is kind
this
of like, no. She says, I would be delighted.
This one's almond butter flavored.
It's what? Butter?
Almond butter.
Oh, okay.
It's like peanut butter, but somehow worse.
I honestly thought you said oil and butter flavored, and I was like, why would that be a flavor?
I don't know. Have you never had sesame oil and some butter just off top of it? It's just terrible.
Just like lick it off your palm. Mmm.
No. You see, you put them together and then you mix them into one singular oil, and then you fry something in it.
Yeah,
Honestly, oil and butter is not the weirdest thing. Olive oil and butter.
Movie theater popcorn flavor.
Yeah.
yeah, it's the key there is like be adding it to something else. It's the standing
This one
on
is-
its own.
This is ABC gum flavored. Already been chewed.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so
So it's basically tasteless.
one of the terrariums is there. One of like the walls is closed off, but the panel in front of it turns transparent. And you can begin to see like different plants growing at what seems to be like an advanced speed. The fact that you can literally watch like corn pushing up and out of the dirt and starting to grow.
That sounds really cool. Like a time lapse, but not quite.
Exactly.
Booker sort of looks at Orphic and goes, "May I?
She
You eat a lot of weird things. You learn how to cook."
she says, yeah, let it finish growing. She says,
No, I get it.
Harvest whatever you like.
All right.
Okay, so how do we protect Rollo and Orphia at like any cost now? Because that's clearly what we need to do.
I mean, no, that's not an option.
What was your idea?
Essentially, taking this and putting it into the ship.
Oh, that would be amazing. But I don't.
I was actually trying to figure that out.
Oh. This place is huge. I don't know if we'd be able to disassemble it properly and assemble
Since
it
my
back in the
power
ship.
requirements exceed those that a ship would be capable of providing.
Yeah, I was going to say we don't have the power. Sorry, Captain.
I'm not the
I-
one who's sorry here. I'm the one that I thought it and then immediately realized it wouldn't work. I know this.
I was trying to do the computations in my head of how many, how much memory we have on the ship, and if we'd even be able to hold a fraction of this.
I don't know if we would. And I'm not saying we would put it onto our computer system. I'm saying we take this computer system and bring it onto our ship. And then from there, we attach everything via solar panels so that it's getting a constant supply of nuclear energy from the star system. It's not going to work, though.
Yeah.
She
And I
says,
Especially
I would
not
also
when-
hate to leave my garden, she says, in what's been created here.
Exactly.
Well, and especially with SBS banging down the door all the time.
So running is out of the question. Hiding
No,
doesn't
my
work.
plan is still pretty good.
I was going to say hiding doesn't work. They already know you're here. So we only have one choice.
She's been fighting for a
Murder.
while. I mean, run, hide, fight. Classic triple choice. But
She's been fighting for a while, but we haven't been here. Also, we have a few things that she just doesn't have.
we do have a booker.
Yeah, that's not the thing I'm pointing at.
But you're not pointing at anything.
He's pointing at Bite.
Oh.
Whoa. How can I help?
You're amazing.
That's one of the things. And considering the fact that a lot of SBS's servers and
And you're really
really,
smart.
it's the tremendous hacking part that's going to really help us out.
Super good at that.
Have you ever bankrupted an entire system?
Could do that.
Look, if they don't have money, they don't have anything to fight with.
Except clones.
And if they don't have, and if you take out the leader and their funds, they won't have anything.
I mean, it wouldn't be
Clones
that
will
hard.
scatter in the wind, and then they'll die in a few years.
That's so sad.
It's an advanced growth. It's clones, unless they're made very, very well, tend to die a few years into their making because there's an advanced growth system
So
that
they're
causes
just gonna
them
get
to.
old really, really fast. Is there like a retirement pen we can put them in? Because that sounds really, really awful.
Well, I mean, SBS did have a retirement pen for clones. We called it a 6-foot ditch.
Booker,
Not
that's not.
a retirement. Dang.
That's what they called it.
I.
They also called genocide liquidation, so you know.
I'm gonna shoot you with your own blaster in your sleep if you don't stop. Own
I was just
gun,
gonna shoot him in
own
his knee.
blaster.
Good luck finding it. Like, and then you just see him like move his hand, and like a lot of different small mechanical parts move.
There's kind of like a ding noise from the terrarium that have been growing food. You're not sure if it was actually equipped to do that, but it sounds a lot like, like a microwave at the conclusion of its cycle.
Orphic politely being like, "Hello."
All right, we can discuss this more
I
over
appear
food.
to have killed Sarah.
I'm okay.
No, I think it was Bat Kyle.
Chat. It was chat.
Oh, okay.
Chat got me.
The entire gene library on a flash drive.
Nope, the next one.
All right. There's also like a slight seismic shaking from like where everybody had come in.
What was that?
She says my guardian returning.
The big one?
She nods. She says I sent him to collect the military equipment that SBS had been using.
Mind if I pilfer?
We have little use for it. She says, I thought if you were intending to access their communications, it might be valuable.
I'll leave that to you guys. I want to look at their weaponry.
The Guardian was like a giant T-Rex, right?
Gigantosaurus, which is
Gigantosaurus.
yeah.
Even bigger.
Oh no. I was gonna ask if she has Gigantosaurus treats, but it occurs to me that the llamas are Gigantosaurus treats, and I don't want to give him those treats. But anyway, that was my thought. Maiko is just like, hey, can I give him a treat? Your guardian? Does he have cookies? Does he eat cookies?
She says perhaps some petting would be better.
Okay.
Says he does like a pat around the nose.
Okay.
Just right here. I say that, but I'm assuming that the nose is like nostril, big part in the middle.
Yeah.
That's my assumption too.
Yeah, the putting up a little reference diagram in the chat. So
Yeah, I think you had put something. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, big boy.
Yeah,
and given that
Booker
Maiko's
is
about half that size, so
Booker's also stopped and talked to Ophelia. Ophelia? I just said it wrong, didn't I?
Orphia.
Orphia.
Orphia. Thank you. My brain went Ophelia. That's Hamlet. Orphia, and just kind of listed off a few things he'll need for lunch. Most of them are just pots and pans. Like a quick stove if she has one.
Yeah, she's like, I can turn the table into a heating device.
Excellent.
Maiko is on her way to pet the Gigantosaurus.
Yeah, it is like, it looks as though it is stuffed considerable number of the Booker clones into the vehicles from which they came.
How
and it
happy are
is-
they about it?
They're very much beyond caring.
They're dead.
I got that. Thank you.
And has then like, it looks like it's hooked part of like the torn metal of each of the like vehicles into a part that it's torn on the next vehicle, so it's dragging a literal chain of like APCs along with it.
How visible are the clones that he stuffed in?
I'm going to say fairly visible.
Okay, so Mike was gonna go out there and be like, I'm gonna pet them. And then she's gonna turn around and come back inside and be like, I'll pet him later.
If you sit at the table, Booker is very good at what he does. And he does a lot of different stuff.
She's just,
If you sit down at the table, there's a quick tray just kind of moved across the surface, and there are some lovely vegetable dumplings with a little soy sauce glaze. Yeah, Booker's good.
Maiko has gone back to petting a llama and thinking of a happy place.
Bite's gonna turn to Orphia. How often do they come? Like, what is our time frame between them showing up next?
She says this has been the most sophisticated attack yet. She says they began sending scout units. She says it's about a week ago. She says drones doing flybys. She says when I realized, she says, the purpose of those flybys began to destroy them. That caused greater interest. She says, and after the first scouting teams did not return, she says this is what I would say is the first full-scale attack.
No one really gonna eat these?
I need to know how much time I have, Booker.
There's absolutely a llama that seems to be like trying to steal one of the dumplings off.
Oh, there's
the
like
table, by the
handed
way.
one off. Like he's handing one off to. It's basically at least someone's taking an interest in my food, and it's all vegetarian, so it's. He didn't get any meat ingredients.
Okay, so you don't know when the next one's gonna show.
She says, I have a prediction. She says
Okay.
48 to 72 hours, she says, seems to be a response time. She says enough for them to receive information about what's happened, make a plan, get the necessary equipment and supplies. She says return in force again.
Okay.
Our time to strike is in about 24 hours.
What'd you say?
We should strike in about 24 hours.
I think I'm
Strike
gonna need
where?
that to hack into the system.
All right. I'm just saying if we mounted an offensive against them, which is the last thing they'll expect, they won't have enough time. They'll be a little scrambled. They won't have time to really mount a proper defense, and we'll be able to breeze through them a bit more easily. They're expecting you to continue to remain on the defensive.
Something as sophisticated as the research station byte is absolutely going to require line shunts in order for you to be able to manipulate within it, which means getting somebody to it and installing them. It's not something that can be done remotely.
So you'd have to. So Booker is also saying that Byte would have to come along to get the line shunts into the research station there to drain the funds from SBS.
Anything, well, Byte hasn't said
Not all
what
of
Byte is saying.
SBS, but still.
What I'm letting that Byte know is that Byte will be aware that a sophisticated research station, one that's also probably serving as like a military center, is absolutely going to have the defenses necessary to require line shunts to be able to do anything.
So, okay. Byte might know this. I do not. Is the research center on the planet?
No. The research center is a research station that is within the system.
Okay.
And it's probably the reason for the delay is because the flying back and forth to it.
Mm-hmm.
So how much of this is said out loud?
Byte's probably mumbling a lot. And just every so often you hear, like, line shunt. Like, I'm going to have to leave to
Is
go
he,
do
like,
this.
Making notes, or is he? I mean,
Yeah, he's on on his data pad making notes and
Can you not be?
basically
Can you
planning
not
out.
beautiful mind it instead?
If asked, he would.
Well, so what I was thinking is that the reason I asked why if he was writing it is because Maiko's gonna like kind of check with Orphia, like, do you have a screen I can project on? And then like kind of reach over and like flick the text that Byte is writing and like display it on the wall instead.
Yeah.
Including the
you-
little dinosaur doodles.
Oh no, there was like dinosaur doodles, but like they are emo-fied. So they have like black hair over their face and like tattoos and
No one seems to understand me. I'm so unique and unable to be told apart from things. Dude, there's an entire subculture that looks exactly like you. I'm so unique, dude.
no, it's not I'm so unique. It's more like I'm all alone.
I know. Just saying. There's a bit of a desire for uniqueness as well. I recognize that in the subculture.
Actually,
Maiko's totally gonna add a bow tie to the dinosaur with the hair.
The projection is actually like up and above the table, and it's 3D. Like you can pass through it. Like wrapping your hand as if you were like holding a piece of chalk will allow you to interact with it and draw a doodle and whatnot. But,
Yeah. Booker is handing you both plates of dumplings. You haven't eaten in a while. Eat. And he's also handing one to Jimmy.
yeah, she is happily taking it. She seems to have her survival priorities squared away.
You guys are going to come up with terrible ideas if you don't eat.
Maiko is sharing hers with the llama with Rollo. Rollo is getting half of her dumplings.
That's why you got twice as much.
And Byte will just basically like eat them very quickly and then go back to the board where he's writing some more.
I've known engineering students like that.
And then he just puts out cups of green tea for you as well.
You want... So green tea is caffeinated?
Minorly. Not very much.
Sure.
It doesn't matter from Maiko.
It kind of does, because Booker makes his own green tea and goes, "This is mine." And he drops like 5 pills in it, and you don't know what they are. It's all caffeine.
This is mommy's breakfast.
This
The
one
shake
is
you
yours.
can't drink.
And this is all, and it's also like watered down green tea, so you won't get nearly as much caffeine. Booker knows his audience.
It's mommy's spicy juice, is what it is. That
Yeah.
she has for breakfast. Anyway.
What's that? An Oreo milkshake. It's spicy. You wouldn't like it.
The other dioramas fade, so you're not eating in the presence of, scary spiders or bad demons. Or
I don't know. The demon was probably kind of hot, right?
Yeah, that's what
actually-
Booker was thinking.
Actually, what?
very, they were very femme presenting, but also very well muscled.
Yeah, Booker would found that very
Mhm,
attractive.
mhm.
Absolutely some warrior attitude and all of it. So
Yeah, you're just barking up Booker's tree.
Frankly, also Maiko's.
I'm so confused as to why you guys are simping over something. Just doesn't understand it.
I don't know that, like, there's open simping, but I think Maiko is probably like...
you can
Like
bring
you
that
can
one
see,
back.
you can see Booker like taking a casual appreciation, which to him is like full on staring.
Muscle mommy, take me home.
The credits I would spend to be crushed between her thighs.
Oh, God.
Yeah, stuff like that. That's not anything said out loud,
Mm-mm.
Michael would probably agree.
If said out loud.
Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Getting back my train of thought.
We are on task and professional.
After like a while with eating and whatnot, Orphic kind of like, I have separated the organic portion from the inorganic portion of what my guardian has returned with.
What?
The dead things are out of the truck.
I was...
He nods.
What, Bite was not understanding it?
Okay, so Maiko is going to, after finishing her dumplings, because she doesn't want to make Booker mad, she's going to go and find the Gigantosaurus and pet. Has to pet the dinosaur.
It gives her the tiniest of headbutts, which is still like about 2 feet of sprawling away.
Yeah, she probably like stumbles back and is just like, oh, he likes it. Rubbing with both hands, like.
You managed to get a spot and his leg just starts thumping.
So we all
I'm not
just
trying to take anything away from you. I'm just...
Yeah, it's the reaction is a little bit more feline after a certain point of like, okay, that's enough, and just like pushes Michael back with its nose. Gives a little growl. Doesn't seem to be like angry, it just seems to be like a warning, like approaching overstimulation, and you probably don't want to see an overstimulated Gigantosaur.
Okay, you're a good boy.
There's like some bloody trails leading away from the APCs.
Nope, there's
but
not. Maiko sees nothing. Maiko sees nothing. Nope.
Got it.
But for Booker, who probably sees them.
Booker's
Well,
going, these were not very well disposed of. Just looking at the pile.
They've been dragged outside. but it looks like most of their gear and weapons and tactical communication gear and stuff like that has been stripped. I will give you a wisdom and leadership role to kind of put together what you can about their tactics, their training levels, that kind of stuff.
Can I help with like diagnostics?
Yeah.
Bite will also want to help looking through any data that they have.
Thank God, Booker has a negative lead.
Okay, so
Now, what's the
I'm
difficulty for this, if I can ask?
It's going to be a 7.
Okay. Yep, I'm gonna need help.
working on it.
Program intelligence?
You're going through the tactical communications gear and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
he's going through the data of
Yep.
whatever they have in there.
Booker got distracted by a shiny-looking gun. Well,
Well,
shiny's the wrong word for it. Slimy at this point? Like glistening in the wrong way.
Okay, and what do you want me to roll?
We will do just int and fix, and I'll give you some kind of more information about what they're equipped with technologically.
That was an 11.
So, the clones are very much fitted out with standardized gear, but the thing is that that standardized gear has been made to a very exacting Booker standard. Does that make sense? So every rifle is designed for his, length of arms, height, etc. Every uniform, every piece of armor is exactly calibrated to his build. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And made to a fairly high standard of quality. It's definitely like factory grade as opposed to like individual custom grade. And from Bytes looking into things, the interesting part is the degree to which their strategy is what is the word I'm looking for? All of the tactical communications gear that they have is designed to like be worn on a forearm and quickly give directions. You know what I'm saying? Flank right here, flank left here. That all relays through the APCs and then through the vehicles themselves and then to a distant location. Does that make sense? Meaning that most of their tactical and strategy choices are being made elsewhere. Somebody is playing armchair general from a distance with troops as their pieces.
Yeah, Booker is pissed.
The thing that Booker is able to put together, mostly from actually like the damage to the armor and stuff like that, is that if they lack in anything, it's training and experience. They have decent quality equipment. They have excellent vehicles. You know what I'm saying? They have the look and probably the reflexes of a soldier, but little to no actual time spent training it, at least by anybody who knows enough to train them.
Booker is feeling more confident about storming a compound.
Bite will relay to Booker the information that he got.
So will Maiko. Maiko's sort of like talking out loud as she's like going through their technology and kind of taking pieces of it apart, pulling pieces of it off, occasionally picking one up and just being like, ew. There's blood on this one, y'all.
The manufacturing standard is very high across the board, from guns to vehicles to...
Booker is definitely formulating a slight plan that may or may not work. The idea Booker is currently making is to, if If Bloomkemp is going to armchair general, which is who Booker is assuming is doing it, then perhaps Bite, now having access to their systems, sorry, I read, I got distracted.
Sorry.
That's fine. Booker is thinking that we could perhaps reverse armchair general the fight, kind of causing conflicting orders to come in through their communication systems.
White was getting his own idea.
So let me state one thing just from your familiarity with Blomkamp. He's unlikely to be doing the actual armchair generaling himself. Does that make sense? He is intelligent enough to know what he does not know and find an expert when that's the case. Does that make sense? He's not the kind of intelligent that presumes that they are good at everything because they're intelligent. He respects experience.
Okay. It's been a while. Booker had a brief brain fog about that, but still thinks that reverse armchair generaling may be a solid option.
Yeah, that part is absolutely solid.
So, Micah,
Go
ahead.
I just wanted to correct that assumption because
we
haven't had too much background about him. So,
and Booker would also like to know Blight's thoughts on.
So basically what I'm thinking is, since you look like one of them, could you possibly sneak us in? Well, sneak me in?
That shouldn't be too difficult. However, how many casualties were reported for this? And how much trouble will I get in for wearing their armor? That I don't know the name of the unit who belongs to it.
That information I can pull out of their tactical gear.
Oh, fantastic. Then we're all good. We should do that and also reverse armchair general, because I'm going to cause some hell.
I think if we do both, we might be able to stop them.
Exactly.
Will it stop them, like, permanently, though? Or will it just slow them down?
In theory...
Without funds, without resources, and without people to lead, an army generally falls apart very quickly. If all we manage to do is slow them down, that's still enough time for Orphia to advance and evolve to a degree much faster and much more defensively and deadly towards attackers than they'd be able to ever keep up with.
Micah's gonna look over at Jamais and see what she's... like, how she's taking all of this.
She says right now the thinking is that we can cut the head off the snake, right?
Yeah.
She says the only concern that I have, she says, is with the head of the snake cut off. She says that some of the noble families might step in at that point and try to take over the position of the Prime Minister.
That's sort of why we're thinking about removing the funds as well. Not just cutting the head off the snake, but draining it.
She says there will still be an infrastructure that I think that they would be hungry to claim. She says, and if there's going to be an attack, I would like to coordinate it with my own people. She says,
well then, what if one of us were to claim it?
She says, you need to hold it. She says, for that you need soldiers.
And how difficult would it be for a war hero, in their eyes, to keep the soldiers around?
As you're talking to my people?
I'm talking the clones.
She says, I really don't know how they were conditioned.
Booker, what are you thinking?
Well, apparently I'm heavily used in propaganda. If I could assume control as the real 800 KR, the one that didn't die, and in fact has come to assist.
But wouldn't you have to stay then?
I don't think so. Really, I think I just need to hold the position for a short period of time as we disable the infrastructure and disassemble it. And once we've removed the infrastructure, but there's no need for any one of us. It creates a gap and a hole that Jamais would have to fill.
She says if most of those pieces of infrastructure were allowed to be claimed, she says, by the nobles on the area that they were established. She says the factories, she says, that were propped up, she says, belonging to the territories that they were created in. She says that would help with the destruction of their abilities, she says, but we're still going to need to remove some of the most dangerous nobles that have been deep in Blomkamp's pocket, she says, which is what the coordination would be for. She says, I'm
You
not
do
intending
realize-
to out and out destroy some of these noble houses, but those who have definitely been on Team SBS need to be removed.
You're talking to a former assassin.
She says,
Not a problem.
I mean removed, charged, and their holdings removed from them. She says that's an important part of the justice. She says if they're simply assassinated, all of them have is an heir with a grudge and all the same property rights, but none of the crimes to be charged against them.
All right. I miss things when they were simple. Put a bullet through a diplomat's head and you just leave.
Well,
Does that
after
just-
you left, it would just leave the mess behind. You just didn't have
Someone
to deal
else
with
would take care of it.
Exactly.
It says, well, I'm that someone else.
Yeah.
It says, and I'd like to not take care of it that way.
We don't want a
She
power
says-
vacuum.
She looks to Bite. She says, you could do me a personal favor if you could find any information proving that the vote against me was rigged. She says, if it really wasn't, she says, and I lost that much faith, she says, then I'd like to know that too. She says, I've been operating under the assumption that it was.
I'm still going to kill Blomkamp. That's not really a debatable thing.
How easy would it be for Bite to do that from here?
If the information was at the research station, then it would be impossible to do from here. Everything at the research station is going to require internal access and line shuns.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I can do it. I can't do it from here.
It'll give me a leg up on reestablishing things.
You know, the dioramas gave me kind of an idea.
Orphic raises that.
Booker, you were talking about sneaking onto the station, right?
Yeah. And then causing a massive riot inside the station, and then...
I can go with you. I mean...
Also, I was kind of assuming we'd all go.
Well... You want Bite on a rioting station?
I want someone to protect Bite on a rioting station.
But what if he didn't go on the rioting station at all?
I have to.
Well, I was thinking if I install your shunts that you need, you would be able to control it from here. And then you wouldn't be on a riding station with your squishy self.
Unfortunately, I don't think I get a choice on this one. if I can find somewhere quiet and hidden away from the riot, then I wouldn't be in danger.
I mean, there's a ventilation system in every... But it might be too big, or too small for you.
Too small for me to put the line shunts in.
No, too small for you to hide in. Vents are good for hiding.
But there's probably a place for me to hide.
Yeah.
So if you hide in the vent and put the line shunt in, and I from another location still on the research station hack in.
It'd be really
without them
easy
knowing.
to paint myself green and go as Gorin. I'm about the right size.
Orphic kind of tilts her head. She says, you would require other modifications as well.
I could wear a hat.
She kind of gestures towards Maiko's breasts.
The Goron are a single-sex species.
Well, I mean, I don't know many people that look at a Gorin long enough to figure out if they're male or female. But I can also wear, there's like bandages or something. I mean, I can look like
I
a...
believe we can do better than bandages, says Orphic.
I can look like a guy if I need to.
Orpheus
Don't like
says,
it, but-
there are other things, she says, that I could offer as well. She says, in assistance.
That's good.
She says, if one of your line shunts was installed and accurate telemetric data could be beamed directly here, she says, I would be capable of offering reinforcements to any direct physical assault.
Ah, I love it when they talk dirty.
She says, I imagine with the chaos of Triceratops stampeding through a station, there would not be much more distraction you would need.
Orphea, can you change someone's appearance?
Yes, she says, but there's a caveat, she says, that there's multiple ways that I can do so.
What you thinking, Bite?
Can you make me look like Booker? Make me look like one of the clones? And then I can just go up by myself. I'll look just like
No.
everybody else.
Aren't you a little short?
Why is everyone here so obsessed with going on their own?
Well, no, it's not that.
Honest to God, I am floored by the fact that everyone wants to go, no, this is too dangerous. I must do this alone. We're a team, people. God damn it.
Booker, you almost died last time we went aboard a station.
And I've almost died several other times.
Okay, but that doesn't make it better.
No.
That's
Actually-
not better.
I'm
Smiles
saying-
and says, I don't believe you're arguing for the thing that you think you're arguing.
Probably not. The issue is that if you hold such a premium on life, on someone's specific life, that you're willing to sacrifice your own, when that other person has that same premium on you.
It wouldn't be sacrifice. I would be going in without them knowing, looking like one of them, and coming out looking like one of them.
Yeah, and that works brilliantly until you run into a snag.
Jimei says, I don't think there's any reason to think that there won't be non-Bookers aboard the station. He operates with it as a base of operations. That means that nobles come and visit all the time. Says that means that there are visitors of state and importance.
Bite, we could dress you up like a noble. You would look amazing, and it would be so much fun.
I
And
Yeah,
Maiko
no.
could come as her... what
I
would you
could come
call
as
it,
part of
retainer?
your entourage. Yeah.
so someone would have to tell me everything to say and everything to do. I
Oh, I
don't
can
know
do
any
that.
of-
That's no problem.
Your
Oh
mate
my gosh,
kinda
I love
raises
this
her
plan.
hand.
Okay, so Bite, you're gonna go aboard as a noble, and then Booker can be your bodyguard, or at least a guard with you. I can be on your entourage, and that's amazing. What a good idea.
Shimei says, I definitely can't go in on this plan, she says, so I'll be working with the army, she says, but I can definitely help school you in some proper etiquette.
Which would be great.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what I mean by no one goes alone.
You all want me to talk to people.
Shimei kind of cracks her
It's a
knuckles. She's
Bad
she's
idea.
like,
Have you seen me talk to people? It's terrible.
Micah
Oh.
was looking at Jamae and making eye contact and is like, oh, we can do this.
she's like, we're gonna need something to help build a suit. Can you help us with that? And Orphic is like, that is within my capacity, yes.
I'm just imagining.
kind of grins and grabs Maiko.
I'm just imagining it kind of cuts here, and we go to another scene where it's just the bite going through a fashion montage. Like keeps coming out of the closet, and they go, and then eventually just one final one.
Yeah, I'm good with that, except that it's not quite like Bite actually like trying them on. They all like are appearing in hologram and replacing the hoodie and whatnot.
It's the
Bite is
fashion
wearing.
montage part, the glow up montage. Like it's
Yeah,
a glow
and then, of
up
course-
montage.
And then, of course, the entire soundtrack is played by that song about walking on a starlight.
Walking on
what-
sunshine? I'm
I didn't
walking
wanna
on
say-
sunshine.
It's exactly that song. Okay, now that you've said it, I can't get sued for it. I can't be the reason we get sued for it. Hooray! I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I'm walking on sunshine. Whoa, I want to feel good. Hey,
And the entire time, Buddy's just like, this is a terrible idea. This is the worst idea. This is the worst idea. This is the. Why couldn't I just hide in the back of? Now I have to talk to
This is
people.
gonna work, but you can't tell yourself it's not gonna work, or it's.
the self-fulfilling prophecy.
You have to think positive. You look amazing. You're going to look great. We're going to teach you as much as we can, and we're going to get you ready. And we've got you. We've got you. You've got this. You can do it. You're good.
And you all
Shimei
just say,
says, a quick question before we get into the etiquette. Are we trying to present Bite as a noble from my planet, or a visiting noble from another planet,
Visiting
another
noble.
system?
Probably a visiting
love-
noble would be better because the etiquette will be a little bit looser.
And won't be as recognizable. I thought the same. You're. She looks to Maiko. She's like, you have some familiarity. Can you make her act, or make him act like a noble from where you're from?
Are there ever any? It's hierarchy, right? Suyosa?
Yeah, hierarchy of
Are there
all.
ever any hierarchy visitors here?
Shimei says there hasn't been yet, but we're aware that they're nearby.
Okay. Then people won't be super familiar with etiquette from the hierarchy. So that would be perfect. Okay, when you greet someone, you have to keep your pinky up, okay?
Hello.
And stuff like that.
He's like, can I braid his hair? Ask Maiko instead of Bite.
Yeah. That would be great.
Booker is just going to sit in the corner, like adjusting parts of his arm so he can fit more lockpicks and other small things into it.
just by being like, oh no. The entire time, Buddy's just like, I'm. Is there any way that you can just say that I don't know the language here? Like, I don't speak it and someone else has to translate for me?
I can be your interpreter.
So then I don't have to talk to people.
You're still going to have to talk.
You're still gonna have to talk, yeah.
You realize what an interpreter does, right? They interpret what you are saying. You just have to speak it in a gobbledygook language.
I think it might make things harder on you than just talking.
Is you have to convey the emotion that you're trying to convey, and then Maiko has to pick up on that and then start saying the...
And I don't think you speak any other languages, do you?
No.
Shimei kind of like, but we can set up your data lab and a translation network to act like you're typing in what you want to say, and it speaks it for you.
That would work better.
It's still going to require some acting.
I can try.
Give me disgust. Holy shit.
Jimmy kind of squeezes Bite's shoulder. It's like, here's the thing to remember. You've been given everything that you've ever wanted your entire life.
Everything.
Says,
Sorry, there was
"People
just a
haven't-
natural rhythm.
People haven't told you no." She says, at most they've said later, or we're working on it.
Okay.
So we need snobby arrogance. The world does revolve
Right.
around you, and you are the most important person in the entire universe.
Can try.
We're all
And
gonna die, aren't we?
Jamaica.
I mean, I come from. But just gonna sit there. I came from the middle of nowhere of Idaho,
What's in Idaho?
and I'm.
The fuck is in Idaho?
It's a state on Earth.
What's a state?
A small plot of
There's
land.
like states of matter.
Yeah, we get that, but
Anyway.
Jamaica kind of
there are
pauses.
statements.
Puts both of her hands on Bite's cheeks and kind of lifts Bite's gaze to like meet her eyes.
And remember, Jamais is still a very attractive lady.
Yeah, so Bite freezes. You're in headlights.
Yeah, and she's kind of like waiting for like the moment of like panic to pass.
Yeah, that's gonna be a while. He doesn't. He's not used to human touch. He's not used to like pretty people even looking at him. So it's just like,
And if Booker opens his mouth and tries to interrupt Jame, Maiko's just gonna like be like, shh. Just FYI, if he tries to make a snarky comment, he's getting a finger on his mouth.
Hey, can you lend me your multi-tool? My fingers are doing a thing.
And Jame's just kind of keeping Bite's attention and kind of like it's very subtle and it's almost entirely physical of kind of like drawing Bite to be like sitting straight up. Does that make sense? No hunching, chin up. And she looks directly into Bite's eyes and says, "You are probably the smartest man I have ever met."
thank you.
Says, "You can do this."
Okay.
She says, "I want you to pretend that you're not there, that you're in a game." She says, "A game world." She says, "Playing at this."
I can do video games.
She says, "This is just a virtual world." She says, "And here, you're going to be the prince."
Okay. Did you all pick a name for me then?
I would probably be unusual.
I mean, my actual name's Hunter.
Louis Saint-Germain.
We already have a Gerard Saint-Germain.
Damn it, I knew that last name sounded familiar.
Hierarchy houses. Hierarchy houses are a little bit in disarray right now. But there are minor houses. You could
So it would be something like Louis of...
No, it would be very easy for you to be Hunter of House Green.
Okay, that works.
DM, does that work? I think it does.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes. The house names are actually all fairly simple. They're like Green, Smith, West. So
Maiko's is gray.
Booker of House Orange.
Wasn't that
Sorry,
the
I'm
Swedish
saying
guy?
not very helpful things.
I'm pretty sure that was a Swedish dude.
she may kind of she smiles and she like her thumbs kind of brush the side of Mike's neck. She's like, "You feeling better?"
Not really, but I can try. I will absolutely try.
Yeah. She leans in and she gives Mike the peck right on the mouth.
Almost Mike would have to be like barely holding himself up at that point.
And she kind of smiles and she says, "And another one when you come back safe and sound."
Okay.
Light's now planning to die on this mission.
Not entirely, but partially.
I knew that look.
Jimei says, "We should probably have your shuttle pilot drop me off in one of the cities." She says, "I should be able to get everything I need to rally support from them."
Is your communication system going to be robust enough to do that on such short notice?
We'll find out.
Oh, I love that answer.
She says it was designed for redundancy. It was designed so that no one point of it was a permanent point of destruction. She says it might have taken some time to come back up, but I think it should be now.
All right. So we'll get Bite ready.
You want a guard or a bodyguard?
Can we say both? So that you don't leave my side.
All
She
right,
says a seneschal.
All right, I'm gonna need a costume change.
Bodyguard. It's gonna be bodyguard.
Booker just kind of starts walking over to Orphea and kind of describing the suit he'd need. Something that looks still noble enough. Like not something dirty or anything grungy like a merc would be wearing, but something kind of noble, put together, and a good helmet over top of his head.
Maiko will also contribute with fashion pointers from her homeworld.
Yeah, Orphic capable of constructing it. And she kind of, she like taps her cheek and she's like, "I can do helmet," she says, "or if you want," she says, "I can provide enough distinction to your feature." I have a tail in the way. Sorry.
I just
No,
saw
it's one of
paw
the-
randomly.
It's one of those things you keep mentioning, but I like my face.
She says, "I'm just suggesting facial hair." She says, "All of your clones are clean shaven."
I'm not. Oh, like Booker's looking around and goes, "Have I been clean shaven this entire time? When did this happen? I remember distinctly having a beard."
She says, "I'm just saying we can do more."
I think a helmet would still be good.
The style would lend itself to like a fuller beard and like a oiled mustache kind of thing, groomed.
Even for bodyguards?
Bodyguards have
Yeah, the
self-image
hierarchy
too.
is fancy.
Yeah.
All right.
And
Still putting it under
even
a
for a
helmet.
minor house, the seneschal for like the prince and whatnot would probably be a minor noble themselves.
All right.
And Maiko, what are you going to be wearing then if we all have to get new fancy clothes?
Micah knows exactly what she used to wear for the hierarchy.
Yeah, Maiko has options. I will be wearing a child's version of what you're wearing, basically.
Okay.
My kind are treated like perpetual children by the nobles of the hierarchy. So I'm gonna have to dumb it down a little bit and stuff.
Okay.
Jimmy says nobody here is going to be aware of that particular tradition.
We'll see. It's kind of force of habit anyway. It'll be fine.
Jimmy knows.
Maiko is going to be a llama.
Yeah, I read that in chat.
But yeah, traditionally I'll be wearing something pretty similar to what you're wearing, but childish. The nobles like to sort of dress up their entourage a little bit, so.
Jimmy
Okay.
kind of like, she says, since you still have some things to get ready, she says, and I should get a jump on this as soon as possible. I'm going to go and meet with Nico, have him drop me off and return here. So this should be goodbye for now.
Good luck.
She, like, moves down onto a knee, kind of spreads her arms to see if Michael will give her a hug.
Absolutely, Michael will give her a hug.
Yeah, she squeezes back. He says, take care of Rolo. She gives a smile to Bite and kind of reaches to squeeze his hands, and she figures she kind of overloaded him already.
Yeah, Bite will definitely shake Jermaine's hand, but just like it's really like as far as he can be.
Yeah, she just takes the hand and she like squeezes it instead of a shake. You get it inside. She says, we'll see you afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of like looks to Booker and she's like, kind of seems to consider for a moment, and she's like, see you later, Captain.
Yeah.
Bite, I think she likes you.
I don't know why.
You can't.
I do.
Jemay, like, as she's walking away, she says, some women are drawn to intelligence. Then she steps out.
Okay.
So the end goal here is going to be to get you access. And Booker, the end goal is going to be to get you to Bloomerdale Filton guy.
Boomcamp.
Yeah, that's what I said.
No, I'm just, I'm saying it as well, so I can remember my anger. He's not saying this very convincingly.
Is that the goal, though, to get you to that guy?
It is.
Do you think he's on the station? On the control station?
Well, I hope so. I want to rip his spine out through his stomach.
I didn't need to hear that part.
Yeah.
Orpheus says, I would appreciate it if you would transmit his research.
Understood.
What?
His research. I'm curious what he's working on.
How long have we all been awake, GM? Like, are we gonna have to, like, try to get sleep before this, like, thing, or...
Well, Booker's saying we should, because 24 hours was the time period he gave, and it's only been one of those.
Yeah. And you're probably going to want to afford Jemay as much time as possible to kind of prep her forces. She's probably not going to move until she hears about some sort of commotion on the station or whatnot, but some rest is probably appropriate, and that probably makes this a good point to, close the curtain as people are getting rested and final preparations are finishing. All the clothes will be finished and whatnot by the time everybody wakes up. Before we fully close, though, like as everybody,
We lost Booker. But we gained a puppy! Hi, puppy. I love you.
One final thing is that as like everybody's kind of being bedded down in the former dioramas, you know what I'm saying, which are all now set up as like bedrooms, fairly spartanly appointed, but still bedrooms. Orphia comes in and kind of like sits on the edge of Booker's bed once it he's away from everybody else. She says, "You do not know the answer now," she says, "but I would like to know if you have considered my proposal," she says, "and my question."
I never thought I was allowed to live. I didn't think I was afforded that luxury.
Says,
there are a few things I want to keep. But for these people, I'd walk through hell and back. What's living a little longer?
She says, "We can go through the process when you return."
All right. I want to keep the arm. I mean, it does recoil dampening, and it also, I can hide things in it. I like it. I like the arm, okay? It's just...
She gives a smile. She says, "If I may involve your engineer," she says, "we can make certain that the arm does not regulate any of your functions." She says, "There will be no kill switch, and the removal of that unnecessary portion of it might afford you a few more opportunities of things to do with it."
That'd be great. Thank you, Orphia.
She says, "Do you have any particular requirements that I should be aware of?"
I don't want you to change too much of me.
She says some things. She says, "will not remain." She says scars, for instance.
I can always make new ones.
She says, "but the rest of you should be as you remember. Only with shorter hair. For now."
Yeah. We'll talk a bit and we'll figure out what's the best course for what we should do. Booker says as he starts thinking, do I want cool animal powers?
And as you all prepare for bed, music plays in each of your rooms. Music that's very much customized to each person. So as we close out, I'd like you all to describe what the music that is playing for your character is like.
I think mine's a lot of smooth jazz.
Are we talking like Kenny G?
Yeah. Like just, and some not as smooth jazz, but just, it's jazz. Booker enjoys jazz. He likes the instruments, the sound of the brass, the woodwinds, everything. He doesn't like scatting very much, but that's just,
I think for Maiko, it's actually not going to be music. It's actually going to be like city sounds. So rather than the sound of like a ship, it's like the sound of people murmuring like under the window, transports going past, like just like the sort of murmur of life that you hear when you're in a very populated city.
Bites is probably going to be older, like calmer video game music.
I was about to ask if it was Skrillex, but you know.
No, he listens to Skrillex during the day.
That's good. And of course, My Chemical Romance. Still.
Yeah.
Well, then I want to thank everybody who has come out to see us. And we're glad to have everybody here for the campaign. If you're watching on YouTube and you've got this point, please smash the like and subscribe button. And now I'm going to give everybody a chance to let the audience know how to find them. And then we'll head out for the night.
You were not
Oh,
prepared.
some Enya would also. I believe some Enya would also be playing, like Ornoko Flow. Look,
Awesome.
Booker has weird tastes, as well as one song which is just it's a critical hit by They Might Be Kings. It's a really
Booker,
good song. You should listen to it.
The music that is done is all customized, so there's no pre-existing like tracks. It's done entirely kind of on our impression of the minds that are in our care at the moment.
Never mind. I'm gonna stop talking.
So, but Booker, will you go ahead and let everybody know how to find you?
Yes, if you are looking for me, you can find me nowhere because I'm not telling you where you can find me. I'm kidding. You can find me on Instagram at Bravely Broken. I'm just someone. Sorry. There was all the links have been put up already. Thank you, Sarah. Because I'm working with Tango Productions to create Bravely Broken. We're doing some really cool stuff. Things are going to get really busy in April, which is only like a few days away. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't wait to show you what we got. Kids Bop, yeah.
I think Booker would kill someone if Kids Bop comes on.
Oh, you would just see you're like several shots shot into the speakers, and it would just be horrific. Yeah, sorry. Like he'd grab a grenade and unfortunately go, wait a second, this is actually kind of catchy, and to blow up in his hand as he realized that he was enjoying Kids Bop.
All right. But do you want to let everybody know where to find you?
Yeah, sure. I'm over on Tango Productions, like Scarda already said. We're working together to create Bravely Broken. And in April, whoo, yeah, it's gonna be fun.
What happens in April?
I'm not allowed to talk about it yet.
I was just to say I have to go to Florida.
Oh, that's right.
All right. So Glory.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitch and Twitter under Blaze of Gloriosa. You can also find me. You can also find me in the Discord. I'm there a lot. Yeah. That's pretty much it. I tend to stream. I've been trying to stream after games, so I'm here on Mondays for our Buffy game, Grave New World, and then I try to stream after that. And then I'm also here on Wednesdays for our Sudden Heroes game, which is fantastic, wonderful cast. And then we have this on Sundays. So that's where you can find me. So I think that's everything other than the last thing, which is just be nice to each other. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Good night, everybody.
Night, y'all.